WWE 2k18 is coming out pretty soon here, a few months. And I'm going to give its must-have and what it must have to get Big Game James excited to play it. So the first thing we're going to talk about here, match memory. I want them to talk about what we done in the universe. He won his WrestleMania match. I want them to talk about stuff like that. Sometimes you'll have a match, and it's you guys' fourth or fifth match, and they don't mention nothing that happened. Now let's talk about referees. I want referees to call matches a little bit differently. And I want you to also be able to set the pace if you want a more slowed out, methodical pace for your brand, if you want a faster, up more TNA pace for your brand. I want that. Now let's talk about match types. They got a lot of legends. I want legendary matches like the War Game. It would be so cool to be able to take your team against another person's team. We'll get into brand battle a little later. Or just battle it out in 2 cages with 8 people and it would just be phenomenal. And look how beautiful it is. It could be matches. You can have 4-on-4. That's another thing. Can we get 4-on-4 and 5-on-5? They had that in Legends of Wrestling Showdown. Legends of Wrestling 1 and 2. Now another match. The Russian Chain Match. Yes, dragging your opponent from corner to corner. Rock and Roll Express will be a great showcase. We'll get into that a little bit later. And they can even have single matches. At least Ricky Morton can have. And they've had chain matches recently with Rusev. So it's not out of the question. Why can't we get something cool like this? And Indian strap matches. Not just the matches where you're attached to, but the match where you actually have a strap and you're beating the heck out of each other. A belt and you're beating the heck out of each other. Why can't we get innovative stuff like that? But now, we must talk about one of the great matches of all time. The scaffold match. With Rock and Roll Express in the game, you gotta bring the scaffold match if they're going against the Midnight Express, which they may or they may not be. Now, if it's a showcase, they will get the Midnight Express and another team we'll talk about a little bit later, which I think may make it instead of the Midnight Express. Now let's talk about managers. I want the managers to be able to do more. And managers should have different traits. Like if you're Jimmy Hart, you should be able to talk through that mic. Maybe you're using the Connect as a manager and it's coming out like that mic somewhat. And if you're a bad guy like a Jim Cornette, you can hit people with the racket. Some guys pull it down and that would be cool. Now let's talk about the 4 horsemen infractions. I want traits where you can have your title saved and people jumping in. I also want it where fans can pump up somebody. If you're a good guy, you shouldn't have people jumping in, but the fans can give you an extra boost if they're chanting your name, you know. Now let's talk about these legends. I want all the legends that came last year, plus some CM Punk. And I want more legends too. Not just the WWE legends and not just the WWE legends from the 90s. Give us the WCW Unlimited legends. We already got Goldberg, we got Sting, we got Arn Anderson, we got Classic Flair. Now with the Rock and Roll Express making a Hall of Fame, give us some Rock and Roll Express, give us some Midnight Express, give us some Nikita Koloff, which will all be in a Rock and Roll Express showcase. Now, another request. You guys got Vader. Please give us this intro. Give us his Japanese intro where he's running, or his WCW early intro. But the Japanese one was a little cooler where he's running in, and all these guys are running to see him, and the Japanese kids are afraid of him, and he's blowing smoke. Hey, with Papa Shango and some of these other cool intros you got, I would love to see the Big Van Vader. Now let's talk about the Rock and Roll Express. Now you gotta bring these. I have no doubt they'll be on the game, but please bring them from get-go. The Hall of Fame just happened. Why do we have to wait till the next Hall of Fame to get Hall of Famers? Now, if the Midnight Express is their people they go against, that would be cool. But I think the Midnight Express might make it next year, and then they'll do that match. So what I'm thinking that they may do, possibly, is go with the Russians, who the Rock and Roll Express won their first title from. That's right. In a cage match, nonetheless, with the Russians, if I'm not mistaken. And with Ivan Koloff just passing, and with Nikita Koloff being the beast, that would be cool. Now, one of the main things I really want, and what we really wanted since the 80s, is WCW versus WWF. Now, that would just be so cool. So we'd have to have enough legends from both companies to make this happen and make it where we actually go against each other. You can have 3 different ways where we go against each other for ratings or go directly against each other. And if you can't do that, at least give us brand battle so we can create NWA versus AWA, WCW versus ECW, or whatever we want to create. Give us brand battle. That's something that has been missing for a long time, and we should be able to go against other brands. It's simple. Another thing I would like, interactive intros in live universe and online universe, where we could play with 20 to 30 people online or 2 people split up the roster and play online. I would also like the Hall of Fame edition. Yes, let us pay an extra $29.99 for all the Hall of Famers, including the ones that are coming now. I mean, we need more of the Hall of Famers because we got a lot of these Hall of Famers in there. And I also would like all the wrestlers from last year, the legends, to make appearance this year. And bring back Harlem Heat for God's sake. but liven up the universe where it feels alive when you're playing and you don't feel like you're alone, where you have a manager that's fighting for you, or even a team partner who's fighting for you. I would like a manager to be able to, if he's a good guy, he can't cheat, but he can make you posters, he can get you popular, he can get you toys, he can get you all these commercials and stuff like that. I think that element needs to be added, and we need to do interviews. We should be able to hear the voice of the interview, or at least use to connect. You guys are downplaying the fact that people like mimicking their favorite WWE stars. Ooh, Macho Man Randy Savage. Okay, that wasn't all that. But still, you get the point. I mean, there's so much more that I want. This is just volume 1. And there will be a volume 2 coming out. Thank you very much. Like if you liked, and subscribe to join the James Gang.